We've been meticulously combing through thousands of videos to find the best examples of brands making videos. To access this list, you'll find it in the description. The first thing we're going to look at is a video reply to comments. You've heard me talk about it a lot, and who better to use as an example than Alex Ramosi? What you'll see is that the comment just popped up right away in the very beginning, and then he started explaining it. He didn't read the comment, he didn't say a title or anything, he just went right into it. This is perfect, flawless execution. Here's a similar example of a text hook plus B-roll plus a comment. So don't feel like you only have to talk directly to the camera, you can do a voiceover. This video has 16,000 likes. It's got a lot of views. This generated a lot of business for her. And all she's doing is showing her process. This style is a little bit different, but this is responding to mean comments, people who are throwing shade. And what they've done here is they've included them all to stack the odds against them, so they have an adversary. They have negativity that they have to overcome. That's what these comments are signifying. Challenge and adversity. I mean, who doesn't like seeing internet trolls getting proved wrong? This is a good example of that. Here's a great example of a text on screen video from the same creator that we saw a few minutes ago. But man, that text on screen, that text hook is really quite powerful and quite simple to create. Here's another variation of that from Scorch Marker. We put the text up on top and the meat of the content down in the description so people can get a detailed understanding of what we're talking about. This is a great example of B-roll with a voiceover. This person is recording himself making soap. He's stuck a few different pieces of footage together, and then he's talking about his business. He's talking about challenges that he's faced with. There's so many different ways you can go. And this is why I'm such a big proponent of recording B-roll as often as possible, because it makes creating videos like this just so much easier. Let's look at another example. Here we have coconut containers. This video doesn't even have a voiceover. It's just music and B-roll. And looking at the likes, like, oh, there's over 100,000 likes on this. That means there's millions of views on this video. It can work without a voiceover. This guy's just showing off his products. A little bit of B-roll, video of each product, little voiceover. That's it. Super simple. It doesn't get much easier than this one. This guy filmed himself sitting down in a chair, drinking a cup of coffee. He put the captions on screen and he just did a simple voiceover. He's just talking about stuff, and we're listening because we have multiple things to look at. We can look at him drinking the coffee in the outside environment with no shoes on. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And then he just starts giving us the meat, the sauce, the juice, and he's just telling us straight up. There are no rules when it comes to creativity, and this is a good example of how you might be able to create and make a video that gets millions of views with very low effort. I've got to show you Monica's videos, by the way, because I've been working with her for so long. She is a great example of how to do video comment replies correctly. She does it frequently, and she speaks directly to that person. She does it really, really well, and her business is growing without spending a bunch of money on creative. Next, we've got ASMR. It's when you create a video where the sounds of the actual thing that you're doing are the main selling point. It makes people feel a certain way. You can pack orders like this brand owner is doing. You can show the whole process of wood burning this entire whiskey barrel lid like you can see my wife doing right here. You can show the product in use like we're making an ornament in this video, and you can see how our product is used. It's low effort, not a lot of talking. Very fun to make, honestly. And of course, if you're a maker or a craftsman or an artisan, you can do really cool stuff like this. This is close-up shots combined with ASMR. The cool thing about ASMR is there's no spoken words. What's funny is as soon as you start speaking, you eliminate all the people that don't speak English. ASMR is not that way. You can get the attention of people who don't speak your language. It's quite powerful. That's why you'll see a lot of ASMR videos get a lot of views and a lot of attention. Next, we have reaction videos. This is an actual customer reacting to the Scorch Marker Pro. And then I reacted to his video review of our product. It's a great way to throw love at people, make people feel seen and heard and appreciated. If somebody's making a video about your product, please stitch, duet it, and react to it. It is absolutely worth your time, very easy to create, and you can just be genuine and nice and say cool things, and you have no idea. It will make someone's day. Here's another reaction video, millions of views, millions of likes on this. He basically showed the video, is staring up at it, and then grabs that item and is like, oh, that's the payoff right there. You're like, this guy's gonna do exactly what he just saw in the video? Okay, I wanna see it too. Reaction videos are fantastic, but they can't be your entire profile. This is something you sprinkle in. It's not something that you do really regularly. And I say that because I've tested this. It doesn't work that way. This is one of my favorite styles. It's the green screen style. You basically use that TikTok feature or the Instagram feature where you put a picture or a video behind you and it green screens you out so you can just be a floating head there talking about what you're seeing. It's a great way to comment, to play the video, to react to it, and also give commentary at the same time. Green screen videos are really, really powerful. I highly encourage you to experiment with this one. These are comparison videos. I mentioned this piece of content earlier. This is from Scorch Marker, where we're comparing our Maker's Magic to Mod Podge, one of the legacy brands that's been around for 70 years. We're doing a simple water test on glass. I got a real low camera angle so I could make it interesting, and I cut every 1 to 2 seconds. I showed a different image or a jump cut. I really wanted to get their attention, and it worked. We got millions of views. The first day that I posted this piece of content, we did $8,000 in sales on our website. $8,000. Zero ad spend. It then went on to become our best performing ad that has generated us millions of dollars. Creative is so powerful, especially when you do it right. Let's look at another version. This is from Nick DiGiovanni. He's a food and cooking creator, and he's showing old foods versus new foods. What an interesting video. What a cool way to do things. Old versus new, us versus them. This is how it's done right here. This video impressed the hell out of me, and the reason I say that is because they used AI voiceovers combined with a founder's story to really sell a product that didn't feel like an ad. She used that AI voice to speak the hook out loud and then transitioned into her expertise as a clinician, as somebody who helps these animals. And then she talks about the solution after we became problem aware. This is such a good example of how to do it right. And then we have Sarah. Notice how this is interesting. Her captions are unique. Her filming and framing is unique. There's some visual hooks, there's some text hooks, and if you listen to it, you'll hear the audio hook as well. It sounds good, it looks good, and it's just interesting enough to keep you watching to get invested. That's how a hook should go. Here's an example of educational content, like 3 different types, or 3 things, or 3 ways. This is Chase Chappelle. He has a TikTok ads agency. Not an endorsement. I don't work with him. I don't know him. I just respect the way he made this piece of content. What he's doing is talking and showing examples in an authentic way of the different types of content that you need to begin an effective ad campaign. A lot of what we talk about today is included in this video. Oh, this one's really cool. Anything with food, creating unique food items. If you can quick cut every 1 to 2 seconds and show something new and unique, people are gonna watch. This person just made shamrock cupcakes and it took me 15 seconds to learn how to do it. Impressive. This guy's name is Joe. I don't know if you've ever seen him before, but he has the most monotone, boring voiceovers that I've ever heard. Yet, he gets millions and millions of views. He's just doing really simple stuff. And in this video, he's putting things underneath his solar death ray and experimenting with them and trying to figure out what does what. I just love how he approaches it from a simple, clear standpoint. So it doesn't have to be complicated. Here's a good example of a text hook. If I covered up the text on the top part of this video, you probably wouldn't watch it because you'd just be seeing a random guy sitting in a mall playing on a piano. But because of this text hook, you know, it says, the guy who stops to listen while eating his sandwich makes me smile every time I watch this. So he has a spelling mistake, which makes it authentic. He has the text in there, which creates a story element, right? And so now we're invested because we want to see this guy eat his sandwich, stop and listen and take time out of his day. And we're also curious as to why he's doing that. So great example of a text hook. Totally got me to watch this video. I believe that this video is successful because of that one text title. This is what I call relatable business content. She's filmed herself just doing stuff, being real. She put some text, put some captions on there, and that's it. It's got a ton of likes. It's really well received by her audience. Fairly easy to create. Oh my gosh, you look at this video right here and I'm like, there's a story behind this. In one picture, she has a ring on her hand and she currently doesn't. What's going on? Like, how did this happen? Like, this is fantastic. Very relatable stuff and really well done. You can tell by the amount of likes that she's received. This has millions of views. And last but not least, we have this gentleman. I've watched this video multiple times. And after watching the pots fall and tip off this thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is he gonna rebuild all of them? The reason I thought that is because it's novel, it's interesting. There is a visual hook. When was the last time you saw a bunch of fresh pottery fall onto the ground and completely get destroyed? Probably never. I've never seen it before, and that's why I kept watching. And as I kept watching, he started to tell a story, and that story brought me in. At the very end, he paid us off by showing us how it happened. And you're like, oh my gosh, he did this intentionally so he could just keep making and creating. You deserve the like. These are all examples of hooks. Text hooks, visual hooks, and audio hooks. There's so many different styles of content out there, it can be extremely overwhelming. I felt the exact same way when I went to go open a business bank account. I didn't know what I needed to say, what I needed to do, where I needed to go. I was just confused. I was uneducated, that's all it was. And eventually, after learning some very embarrassing lessons like being laughed out of a Chase Bank, I learned that I really only need 2 things to open a business bank account, and that it's free and it's a lot easier than I thought. Not to mention, if you don't have a business bank account, you don't even have a real business because you've got to keep your money separate. It's the law. So after much trial and error, I quickly realized that not all business bank accounts are created equal, despite them all doing kind of the same thing. I needed a business bank account that I could operate from my computer at home. I needed a mobile app where I could deposit checks. I needed to send ACH and wire transfers and pay my employees. And most importantly, open up a bunch of different checking accounts so I could use Profit First. Well, turns out there's really only one business bank account that does all of those things. And that's why they are the sponsor of this video. They're called Relay, and it's the business bank account that I use every day. So if you don't have a business bank account already, which you probably do, you need a second one because you just never know what's going to happen. Relay is an excellent option, and I know it takes time to switch things over and get things moved over to a new bank, but if you get it set up and just slowly start doing it, you'll quickly see why they've become my new favorite and why I use them for my business. Full transparency. I was a user of their product before I reached out to them and asked them to sponsor our videos. It just so happens that they're a perfect match because it's a product that I know, use, and love. So click the link in the description, fill out your application for your free online business checking account with Relay, and you'll see exactly why they are my primary business bank account. Okay, back to the video. Let's talk about educational style videos and different ways to do explanations. This is one of my strengths. Check this video out. It's a very simple, bright shape, but he's putting post-its around it and teaching and explaining at the same time. Interesting to look at, interesting concept, easier to understand. Here's a piece of content by me where I'm talking about top line versus bottom line. It was just so much better than me just talking to the camera like this. Anyways, I love this guy. He talks about e-commerce. He writes out these long, nice, beautiful notebook pages, and then as he's creating, he'll just line through it with a highlighter. And you and I both know that as soon as he makes that stroke, like, there's no going back. So there's almost like stakes involved here. But at the same time, it's educational, it's fun to look at, and there's a lot of meat and substance here. This person, they're just teaching us how to make cupcakes look cool. Look at the beginning of this video. You're like, what is this pink stuff going in this weird geometric shaped mold? How is this going to work out if they put the cupcake upside down? Just a great example of educational mixed with a visual hook, mixed with short, sweet, and very helpful. I watch Ava's stuff all the time. She's really good at this. She has great hooks, great presentation, and the stuff that she creates is visually novel. Sometimes she'll put a fake mustache on and pretend to be a guy so she can have a conversation with that person. Sometimes she'll take what she's working on and airplay it to the TV and do presentation style. It's a really cool way of doing things. This one's really visually interesting. It looks like he's coming straight out of World War II, and he's holding the ammunition and the gun, and everything looks time period accurate, and that's because it is. He serves people that are interested in history, specifically World War II. And so by him putting all this stuff on and explaining it while pulling it off of his body is just different than if you were to see it on a table. It's those subtle differences that make the difference between good content and bad content. Oh, this one was a ton of fun, where he's talking about how color doesn't matter. Like, he said a profound statement, and then he backs it up with his content. I do that too sometimes. Like, you shouldn't partner with people. Your business should partner with people. and then I'll go and I'll make a piece of content to explain what I'm talking about. These videos are all about different camera shots, and that's the secret sauce of these videos right here. If you look at how Ava's explaining things, she's using different camera shots to get our attention, and then she's showing us instead of just telling us. She's showing us how bad the close-up shots look when it's just your face and you can see all your pores. She's showing us how good it looks when you actually use your hands to talk and speak and what proper framing looks like. I love this style. Show, don't tell. Your content will be better. And this is really cool. This is a clip from the 505 podcast, and they've used B-roll to enhance it. So instead of him just talking to the mic, they're putting in clips to prove what he's talking about, to tell the story and show you. Highly recommend using B-roll to show instead of tell. This is one of my favorites. This is our founder story, how we got started. And I'm talking about how we invented this product in my mom's garage. Notice the text hook, notice the visual hook of me being in this workshop and adding in B-roll and extra shots. And then the audio hook as well, just getting right into it and talking about how this came to be. Not only was this a high-performing piece of content, but it also lives on our Amazon and our Shopify and our About Us, and it gets reposted consistently because it teaches our customer where we came from and who we are. Okay, this video got tons of views, and it's very simple. It's B-roll with some text overlaid on top explaining the meat of what I want to talk about, and I just want to introduce myself. And it worked. I got tons of likes, tons of views, and a lot of people reached out, and we generated some sales from it. Here's another one from JT. This is who I modeled our content after. I saw JT do this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could do that. That's easy. And it worked. Let's talk about some stuff that doesn't really fit into a box, but I think it's important to see. Right here, this video specifically is Gary Vee talking about how one video completely changed the course of this business. This mango gummy had a creator post a video to TikTok, and it became so popular that they were completely sold out across the entire country. So much so that people are marking up these mango gummies and selling them on eBay because they're that desirable because of one piece of content. And that's the one thing that not a lot of people talk about. When you roll that dice, sometimes you hit snake eyes and you win the entire jackpot. This is a good example of that. There is no other way to get that much attention other than short form content on social media. This is a very simple video from Layla Hermosi, just a talking head video with captions and an interesting subject matter. She did support it with a little bit of B-roll, but she's just getting straight into it. It doesn't have as many likes and views as you would see on other videos, but that's okay because it resonates. It resonates with her person, and that's what she's trying to do. So don't think that it's all about views and likes. Sometimes it's about serving your customer. Oh, this one is great. Pat Flynn, the author of Superfans, one of the first business books that I really read to understand how important it is to build brand and have people in your corner and treat them with kindness and respect. Our short form content is going to get people's attention, but when we video reply to comments and we talk to them and we respond to their comments and their DMs, we're warming them up and we're moving them down this funnel so that they can become a super fan. But they can't become a super fan if we don't get their attention. Here's an excellent example of how to take a podcast and clip it up for social. This one point that she made while on the Think Media podcast with Sean, oh my gosh, it did so well. It got so much attention. And the reason I say it did well is because people like me are watching it and I'm his target person. And I was like, holy cow, this is great. You really just need to start. And that's the point of this video. Just start making, because once you get to 100 videos, you will have most likely found your voice. And that's the exercise we need to go through. We don't need to be worried about being perfect in the beginning. We just need to start creating so we can start getting better. Starting is 90% of it. I promise you'll get better with more reps. Another example of a video podcast talking about video podcasts, right? Sean's talking about how you can clip things up if you have a video podcast. We've talked about that already, but here's an example of that. Please find this video and listen to it with the sound on. When you have a moment, please watch this video where JT's talking about how founder-led creative is the most powerful. Brands know it, customers know it, we all know it, that it is almost mandatory that you begin creating for your business. This right here is evidence of how much that's true. Look at the hook on this one. Do not post until you know this. Kinda wanna know what she's about to say because I'm worried I might be making a mistake. And she's combined all kinds of stuff in this video. The hooks, the presentation style, the B-roll, the added images, the captions, the conversation between her and another version of herself. The more things that you stack up, the more likely it is that your person's going to keep watching. I've included a couple different resources in the description below under content inspiration. We've got an entire Google Doc put together with links to all the videos that I talked about so you can go through them one by one and see if anything resonates with you. As you're going through it and looking at these videos, I want you to be thinking to yourself, which one resonates with you? Where would you want to start? So do me a favor, look through this list and pick a style, and let's see if we can replicate that for our business with our brand in our unique style.